If you're dealing with a disability that affects your ability to do your job, you may have the right to a reasonable accommodation under the law. But how you ask for that accommodation matters, especially if things don't go as planned later on. Hi, I'm Tom Spiggle with the Spiggle Law Firm, where we help people who've been fired or afraid that they might be. And today, we'll be going over how to ask for an accommodation for a disability at work. First and most importantly, put your request in writing. Whether it's an email or a formal letter, you want to create a paper trail. That way, if your request is ignored or denied unfairly, you'll have proof that you took the correct steps. Your message should clearly explain that you're requesting a workplace accommodation under the Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA. You don't need to go into deep medical detail, but you should explain the reason for the request and what the accommodation is that you are asking for. Another good reason to put your request for an accommodation in writing and to put your employer on notice that you have a disability is that under the Americans with Disabilities Act, you are protected even if you aren't in fact disabled under the law, provided you have a good faith reason to believe that you are. And the reason for that is that the law protects people that the employer perceives to be disabled. So even if for whatever reason the court finds or a jury finds that you are not disabled under the Americans with Disabilities Act, but the employer believed that you were, and retaliated against you or discriminated against you, you can still win your case. So put your employer on notice. Let them know that you believe you have a disability, because even if it turns out you don't meet the legal definition, you can still be protected from discrimination and retaliation. Now, legally, HR is allowed to ask for medical verification, so it helps to have a doctor's note ready before you make that request. This note should explain why the accommodation is necessary, outline the nature and severity of your disability, list the expected duration of your accommodation, and summarize the specific job activities your condition limits. You should note that even if you're uncomfortable sharing your medical history, your employer has the legal right to ask for some documentation to support your request. They don't need your entire file, but they can ask for a note from your doctor explaining your need for the accommodation. Requesting an accommodation isn't just about asserting your rights. It's about setting yourself up for success at work. Be clear, be calm, and be proactive. Putting everything in writing and being prepared with documentation can make all the difference if something goes wrong and you need evidence to back up your claim.